shapes to some of the buildings down here. Horseshoe-shaped buildings. We'll proceed south. I'm not going to try to pronounce the airport. It's LEOX. Mountains are really getting rough in here. A little bit, maybe. Some nice rocks on this this little mountain right here. A little rocky outcropping.
Which one are you in the sim?
Comfy. Little nav map is not providing me a runway heading for this. I'm gonna try to line up and get a heading on it. Looks like about 180.
I have 1634.
1634. Do mind the tree at the threshold.
Stupid
It's a
place to
short-
put a tree. I'm quite liking the mountains in this area. A lot of really big hills, rocky mountains. Yeah, I've flown over quite a bit of southern Spain, but not been up this end of it.
Well, it won't be too much further, and we're going to start getting into more of a southwestern U.S. type vibe area. If it was, well, it had to been to be good enough to qualify for filming locations for the many great spaghetti westerns.
they'd have filmed them in Italy, calling them spaghetti westerns.
There's a what?
I said you'd have thought they'd have called them, filmed them in Italy, as they were calling them spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
Italian directors, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Sergio Leone. Among the most famous of them. We'll take off, make a left hand out, and get onto bearing 195. That'll carry us on into the next airport. Anyone on with some local knowledge of Spain?
Nope.
Nope.
Don't think so.
Nope.
I can make a Basque cake.
Is there a punchline?
That
No,
was good. I heard they were good.
yeah, I'm down from close to New Orleans, and they remind me a little bit of an authentic king cake, not the king cake variety that's sold at the local bakery, but an actual French king cake.
Just not the baby. There's no baby in it.
That is correct. They can't put babies in them anymore because somebody choked on it and sued. They put it on the side with a warning, you know, do not eat the baby.
Baton Rouge here.
Howdy, neighbor.
How's it go? Nice little lakes and countryside right here. I like the selective use of farmland, where they've cleared where they can, and then you have your trees outlining your streams and your edges. Little up here and there. That's a nice touch too. Anybody want to do touch and goes? There's an off-trip runway right here. About to fly over.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Because it's cheaper. Well, today they're lucky.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of warehouses here. Wonder what their local market is like. What do they produce here? And what is this, Vittoria Gasteiz?
Plenty of olives and olive oil for sure.
There's a lot of manufacturing. Mercedes-Benz, Michelin. So has anybody tried the the Cessna 140 by Airplane Heaven.
Sounds like a no.
Yeah. What about the 170 by Coronado?
Nope.
Not yet. I ended up getting the 170. The 170 is very anemic at high altitudes, though. Probably about 10,000. It does look and sound very nice, though, so as per usual with Coronado. Yeah. Well, what are you guys flying most nowadays? What's your new plane of choice?
I recently got the Just Flight Turbo Aero, and I'm very happy with that. Really good resolution on the instrument panels and the aircraft itself, and seems to fly just fine. Likes altitude quite a bit with that turbo, but I've number one on my wish list, of course, is the DC-6.
Yeah, that's the one I got. It's fun.
I'm almost scared because one of the tutorials tells me it could take an hour and a half for a proper engine start.
No, you don't have to take that. I mean, if you want to study it real heavily, maybe, but of course you can get right in it. But I can do just a cold start up by memory now. It takes about 5 minutes. And if you want to go through the entire checklist, yeah, it's like 100 and some items.
5 minutes I can do. That actually is very reassuring.
Yeah, it's tricky. I got in it the first time, and of course I ran it too hard and burned the engines up. And I reloaded. It wouldn't start. You actually had to send it to the shop, more or less. Click on a repair button in there to fix it before it'll crank back up.
Yeah, the Just Flight has something similar called Save State. That's what they call it. And if you screw up the engine or forget to check the oil and fill the oil, you'll have to get it repaired.
Yeah, and I do it in VR, so it's a really good time. It's amazing. It kind of overwhelms you at first. You jump in the cockpit and you've got about 50 dials and switches or more to look at.
It should be within the next week or so that I pick it up.
I'm pretty sure you'll like it. I enjoy it.
With the announcement of that Beaver by Milviz, I'm curious if he's going to try to simulate something like what Thuranda did with the piston start, where you actually had to get on the front side of the plane and basically time the popping off the pistons. That's what I'm really looking forward to right now, is that Beaver. That's the most tangible thing I got looking forward to right now. He was able to simulate like an engine blowout in the Corsair. I wonder if they'll have similar damage states for the Beaver.
no, they didn't in the prepared version. Maybe in this version they will.
Yeah, it's pretty neat in the DC-6 because when you start it up, you know, you'll hear your flight engineer count off turning of the blades. You know, count to 12 blades turn before you can hit your boost and prime, and then you wait for it to kick off on the engine. Then you got to pour your mixture in. So you have to kind of work a little bit to get each engine going. But it's fun.
Don't know who's that talking, but you're very quiet.
Our next strip we're going to be landing at is LEPQ. It's right up ahead in these mountains. I do like the Aero and the Turbo Aero though. My only wish is for like some V-Speed autopilot like what the Mooney has.
Yeah, it took me a little getting used to it, but I don't mind it so much. But I'm always happier when I get back in the X-Cub or the Cessna with the modern Cessna 172. That's just so much easier.
Runway heading is going to be 19. 190.
Couple.
Little golf course on the left.
You got some elevation on that runway, or?
Our elevation's gonna be 4,000 feet.
Roger.
pretty much can see it. It's shaved right into the top of this little ridge line.
What's the name of the airport?
LAPQ,
No, I mean the actual name.
Aerodromo Forestal La Frontera, something.
I was messing.
Good Spanish.
Yeah, I was messing with you because I could just started reading it now, but you did a pretty good job on that.
It sounded native.
That's the standard American choice of Spanish as a second language in grade school. You get two choices in America, French or Spanish.
Wow, my French accent is nothing like that. So.
Well, I tried French in LSU, and a French teacher told me I speak French with a Yat accent. I don't think that was a compliment.
It's hard to embrace the Cajun French side and the New Orleans side. Are you native to New Orleans?
Yes, I was actually born in New Orleans, but lived for a long time in Belle Chase.
Oh, that damn. I hate crossing the Intracoastal, going back in there.
Yeah.
Plenty of work down south for the oil companies down there.
Yeah, I always cooked, so I could work on the oil rigs when I was younger, but never anymore. I always say it's a 20-minute, without traffic, it's a 20-minute drive to New Orleans, but it generally takes me an hour and a half.
Were you living in Belle Chase at the time the plane landed on the levee?
There's nothing of any, I don't know. I was there, let's see.
I was at Method over there on what is that, New Orleans East?
Is there anything more memorable about it than that? I mean, were there fatalities or anything? Or?
No, that was the miraculous thing. No fatalities. It was shoot, what was it? Was it DC-8 or something like that? It landed on the levee.
I was picturing something much smaller than that.
No, it was this was in the 80s. Was it a 737? Which is better than the one that happened in Kenner. That was bad.
Yeah, we just celebrated sorry for saying that. We just memorialized the anniversary, 35 years?
Yeah. To my knowledge, Baton Rouge hasn't spared any major air disasters.
Yeah, if that passenger plane on the levee was in the 80s, I doubt I would have remembered that. I was about 20 years old at the time and playing pretty hard.
Playing pretty hard.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time. I'm much better now.
Get everybody down and we'll take off. Let's see what heading. We're going to be on 228 once we turn around. Make a left-hand pattern. Fly over these mountains, and then our next destination is going to be Sad Hill Cemetery. Figure out if anybody recalls that from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's the side of the Mexican standoff between Blondie, Tuco, and Angel Eyes.
Hang 'em High just played on Grit TV. I watched that the other night. That was good. But I hadn't watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for a while. I'll have to revisit that.
If it's possible, I'd like to get 3 planes down there and kind of recreate that scene with that. Just get a snapshot of 3 planes in a Mexican standoff in the middle of Sad Hill Cemetery. I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, I'd go down there. I'll try to land.
Magic Wings, what are you flying?
Hi, I am coming.
What you flying?
Kinner 315.
Well, you'll have fun at this strip then. You're going real vertical. All right, head on out. By the way, these mountains here are the Sierra de la Demanda, and they are a an October to May ski resort here in Basque Country. On the mountains off to our right, we can see those the ski trails cutting into the slopes. Fun fact about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Eli Wallach, who played Tuco, nearly died during the filming of the movie. The scene where he has to break the chain when he's tied to the bounty hunter, and he sets the chain on the train tracks. They didn't plan for it, but his head was about a foot away from the little steps on the side of the rail cars when it went by. So if he had ducked his head up just a little bit, Eli Wallach would have been decapitated. Fun little trivia.
Yeah, they did things for real back then, didn't they?
Yeah, they took quite a few chances.
Yeah.
Lima Echo Papa Quebec traffic New Stuyver 1 taking off runway 1 straight on departure.
So have you got the Good, the Bad and the Ugly theme tune lined up for us?
I should, but I do not.
Somebody had a decent whistle earlier. I'm not sure who that was.
I think that was Vox. I don't know where he ran off to. Might have came into this valley a little bit low. Gonna be a close call. There is one bit of good news about Sand Hill Cemetery. Nobody is buried there.
Oh.
It's a completely fabricated set-piece cemetery. I think they had a couple of hundred volunteers from the Spanish army come in and dig fake graves. And they basically created like a giant, like a Roman circus style cemetery.
What time was the movie shot?
A western.
End of the 60s or?
Oh, when? This was 1966.
slightly surprised about that. I would have guessed the early 70s, but cool.
The local government in the area where Sad Hill Cemetery is, though, has basically turned it into like a local tourist attraction. They do keep upkeep on it. They have tours. Even got a preservation society for Sad Hill Cemetery.
Wasn't that good a film, was it?
Well,
It's famous, right? This is Sergio Leone, right?
yeah.
The Ennio Morricone is the music, right?
Yes, sir. Interesting grass color underneath this forest. Almost a blue-green grass. Somebody's got it going in the background. And the landscape looks like it's starting to shift into something very, very much reminiscent of the American West. Almost a Ponderosa Western style geography here. So this little butte right here at our 12 o'clock, the one to the right, we'll pass that, and right below it on the opposite side should be Sad Hill Cemetery.
So we're gonna land at the cemetery, or?
If we can. Looks like we... Yeah, for sure. Might have to taxi back to it. There's a field before it and a field after. Whichever one piques your interest.
Just a tad bumpy.
Alright, I'm in position. Not surprising that the grass texture has kind of glazed over the graves, but you can still see it zoomed out. Get one more person facing the circle. It's no joke, it's a road too. By the way, during this scene, the Mexican standoff scene, probably one of my favorite Ennio Morricone pieces, Ecstasy of Gold, is playing, or Estase de Oro. Well, this is kind of a disappointment, but nonetheless, thank you, Microsoft Flight Simulator, for allowing me to land here. Proceed to take off in whatever manner you guys feel is the safest, and we'll proceed south to LECA.
Splendid.
It's going to be an interesting departure. guess this would class as the Spanish Highlands. It's the central plateau where most of the agricultural product of Spain is grown. A lot of red dirt.
Looks nice.
Just beyond and below those mountains at our 12 o'clock is Madrid. So all of these little towns that we've been flying over, I've been looking down on them in Little Nav map with Google Street Maps. And there's two common themes every one of these villages has. Church and a bar. So, why ever leave the village? The only thing you need is to be here. If God doesn't solve the problem, you can go to the bar. If the bar doesn't solve the problem, you can go to the church. For anything else, seek a hospital. This area kind of reminds me a little bit of like Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, right there on the west side, where it starts to go up into the Rockies, Black Hills. That was a good trip. I enjoyed the hell out of that one. Need to do more in that part of the U.S. Excitement still up about the update here. Was it next week?
A week from Tuesday coming up. Yeah, I am.
What about that Steam handheld device that's supposed to be rolling out later this year or early next year? Anyone interested in that?
Nope.
Nope.
I think it's a kind of a toy, man. I mean, it's not for flight sims, let's say that.
Oh no, no. Definitely not a replacement for Flight Sim. But I will say my quote gaming laptop that I do carry with me when I do travel, it is quickly becoming outdated. So anything portable that I can justify buying as a replacement will be gladly accepted by me.
What's this? Is it like a new Steam computer or whatever?
Yeah, it's like was it the NVIDIA Shield? That was like a precursor to this. The whole handheld. I mean, it's essentially just a handheld personal computer. Or at least it's supposed to be. I think it's running on the. Steam has produced a proprietary OS for it, which can mean one of two things: it's going to be great, or it's going to be horrible. There's no okay.
They'll abandon it in a year.
That's the fear right there. Just like they did everything else. I think though if it is mildly successful, if it'll encourage other PC manufacturers to produce them, like Acer or Asus or Toshiba, or, name your PC manufacturer. I think it'll be neat seeing more of that type of product in the market. Plus, you probably can do things like Elite Dangerous alright, and that'll give me an excuse to buy Odyssey. Not a massive fan of it so far. Anybody else dabble in Space Sims?
Not me.
No, I only play one game nowadays. I got Elite 2, this was good, but Odyssey's a bit of a downer.
Yeah. Runway's coming up. Pretty much two options. You can come in a little bit on the left side and come in on 04, or you can stray slight right and turn in onto 18. It should be noticeable. There's going to be a different color grass for the runway, and it should be painted. Do I see a jet down there taxiing? And barely make out the 18 right there. Kind of pops in over the trees or under the trees. But this is definitely a wide runway, so you have plenty of room.
Suits me.
So the nearby town, just to our south, Corral de Ayllón. I think that's the pronunciation. Guess what? Two things it has in common.
Go on.
It's got a church and 2 bars.
What was that heading again?
1-8.
Can't see anything that looks like a runway.
Just somewhere in this general field. Somewhere around here. You're good.
There is actually a 1-8 painted on the ground.
Oh well, if I didn't already say it, congratulations,
Oh, yeah.
Carnival.
I see it now.
I'll get you sorted on that before the end of the flight. In fact, I think I'll just take a moment real quick, get you that. Alright, there you are. Don't go spending it all in one spot. Alright, that was a bad joke, I guess. Alright, we'll go ahead and take off and start on heading 195. So our flight path has us taken basically between that mountain there on the right and the range to the left. Gonna try to fly nape of the earth all the way up to the top and then pop over.
The way you say it, it sounds easy.
I try to inspire confidence by making everything sound easy. It's the only way to psych myself up. That way, if you fail, you can always be like, well, I didn't expect it to be that hard. Getting little bits of micro turbulence every time I pass over one of these streams where it dips down. Mindful of V-speed. We're 15 degrees nose up. Kind of gone off course just a little bit. Next airfield's similar to the last one, where it had it's technically 4 approaches, 2 runways, grass strips. Options are 25 and 14. Should also start to see the outskirts of Madrid once we pass these mountains up toward 12 o'clock. Anybody else excited for the PC-24?
What is that?
It's basically a bush jet. It's basically like a same kind of style and that same aircraft set as like a CJ4, that kind of business jet, but it is capable of unimproved runways, grass, dirt.
Who's making that?
I don't recall who it was.
Pilotos, the village next to me. Oh yeah, in real life, is it coming to the sim?
Yeah, it's coming to the sim. Some who picked that up? Just saw an announcement on it last couple of days ago. Iris Simulations.
Problem with a lot of the K-wares is they're just like Frankenstein, the avionics, the insides are just cobbled together.
Well, the good thing about the PC-24 is you could probably get away with using some pre-existing assets for the Citation or the CJ4.
Yeah, if they use working titles, then that'll be pretty good.
the VA side of Bush Divers has been very strict about turboprops being pretty much the top of our aircraft list. Because we fly into bush trips, there's no point in owning a 747 for bush flying. But the PC-24 would be the first real bush-capable jet that we would have. So it'd be an interesting addition to the fleet. I'd like to see it try to land on some of those fields in New Guinea.
Yeah.
Looks like we got winds coming out of the northeast, so either runway is going to be a bad runway. So take your pick, 25 or 14. I think 25 you're going to have a bit of a tailwind, 14 you're going to have a crosswind. .25 is much shorter than 14. Just heads up.
Going for 1-4.
Flying over the town of Venturada. Notable landmarks here is a church and 2 bars. At 25 is 930 feet of dirt. I don't think this is the runway, I'm just gonna put it down somewhere in here. Yeah, 14 is recommended. Kind of a funky airport. Like a trough, just kind of guides the planes in. And then you got a road that banks up a steep hill. Looks like Spain. It's almost like I'm here, guys. Look how realistic it looks. This is going to be interesting getting out of this. That's pretty steep.
Alright, have a good night everyone. Thanks, bye.
Take care. So we got a couple more coming in. And then we'll try to make it up this hill with enough speed under our wings.
Am I the only one using little nav map?
No, I've got it up on an iPad right in front of me.
I guess that's not attached to the sim though, is it?
Oh yeah, it's attached to the sim. I have it hardwired into the computer, so it's tracking me.
I don't see you.
I'm at the very bottom, runway 32, I guess, at LEWI.
Do you see me on the nav map?
Oh, on the nav map? No, I've never got that to work, actually. The other players on Little Nav map.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. You can't see multiplayer on Little Nav map, can you?
I think it might just be the AI that you can see.
We did the pilot.
I see other people. So, I mean, I know I have.
Pilot Edge will import planes, but not just regular multiplayer.
Yeah, that same for VATSIM. I think VATSIM will track through Little Nav map. Well, you guys want to try to take off this hill? Airspeed I can get before turning around and going the other way. It's not looking very encouraging. I think I just might.
You gotta have a bush plane.
next waypoint is the village of Hoyo de Manzanares, which is the filming location for the most common title for it is Ducky Sucker, but technically it was released in English as Fistful of Dynamite. If anybody's seen that film.
Sounds familiar. I don't know that I could quote anything from it, but it sounds right.
See, I think it's Richard Coburn, I think, played Irish, basically an early IRA member and a demolitions expert who went to Mexico for a silver mine, ended up getting brought into the Mexican Revolution, 1910, that time frame. That's what the setting is. But it was filmed in a village just north of Madrid, which is where we're headed to.
Did you mean James Coburn?
James Coburn, that's who else. That's who it is. I struggle to think of many other films that he did. It was kind of nice how this valley opened up right here past this mountain. Nice little mountains off to our right, the lakes. And then I think you can see Madrid off to our 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you confused me there for a minute. I think you said Robert the first time, and I was thinking Robert Mitchum. Yeah.
Yeah. Another fun fact about Hoyo de Manzanares, it's not just the filming location of Ducky Sucker, but it also has a church and 2 bars. think that's
church. Is the church between the two bars, or are the two bars next to each other and church is down the street?
Church is down the street, but it's a short walk. I think that's a hallmark of any great Catholic landscape. Churches and bars.
Hey, according to Google Maps, it also has a bibliothèque, so...
Oh, they're well read then. La Biblioteca de Academia de Ingenieros. Damn, I can't even pronounce that one. Like an engineering academy. It's probably some like technical school library. Alright, making that turn to the north to go up to Segovia. Depending on how well read you are or not, or just paid attention or watched like Jeopardy or some shit, probably would have mentioned it there. Segovia is the place setting for Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. And the bridge, I believe, is on the south side of town, so we should be able to see some of the bridges, which were the targets for the protagonist and For Whom the Bell Tolls.
What's that place in Marvel? Segovia?
Yeah, Segovia. Well, I want to apologize to all you guys because I feel like I set the bar a little higher with Sicily than I did this place, and my lack of facts and knowledge on the region is telling. So, do want to apologize for the lack of interesting, fun facts.
Seriously, it's no problem. I've actually had a very enjoyable flight.
Good flight. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Even a little bit of narration is better than none, and you're doing a good job.
Well, fortunately, I have a beautiful landscape to fall back on as a crutch. This would be a different story if we were out in the Sahara. Check out that dune over there.
Which one?
What's the name of that place? I think it's in Syria where they carved a city into the side of the mountain.
Petra?
What is it?
Petra. That's in Jordan, isn't it? I think it's in Jordan.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the filming location for the Raiders of the Lost Ark. When Indy and Indy's dad, Sean Connery, go back in there and find the what was it? It was the cup. Shoot.
Last Supper.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah,
the
that's
Holy
it.
Grail. That's it.
It's really a shame. I just Googled Jordan to look at a map of it, and I get the local Foot Locker, a doctor's office, and a law firm.
But in Jordan?
No, I think that's local. I'm gonna have to go. But the Foot Locker is the one I scratched my head for a second and went, oh, of course.
I know when I'm being a tourist in Jordan, the first thing I want to find is their Foot Locker. That's a tourist beacon. It's a mecca.
Welcome to the internet.
They tried to give me what I want, but that's not it.
That's the story of my life right there.
Actually had a friend in the military who, after he spent his, I guess it was a little over a year in Afghanistan, they went to Jordan, where he was allowed for the first time since he deployed to put on civilian clothes, and he actually toured some of the Christian memorial, monuments or whatever. It was they were pretty nice pictures that he posted.
Is that Coptic, or is that just in Egypt? The Coptic Christians.
I don't have any further information on it than that, I think.
Yeah, I think Coptics are just in Egypt.
But these looked like, if I remember correctly, it seemed like they were like 2,000-year-old paintings and drawings and things like that were in some location they were allowed to go play tourist in.
We'll have to plan a Levantian trip. Hit up the West Bank and the Golan Heights, Lebanon.
What was the dock? It's a shame I don't know this. What was the dock that just had that awful explosion a year or two ago?
That's in
Beirut.
Is it Beirut? Yeah.
And I did. It's been a while. It's been maybe almost a year. It's been not a year at least, huh? But it's been a year or so, and we did a TBM tour of those docks to see what they look like. You know, I think pre-explosion, of course. But yeah, I'd like to do that in a bush plane. That would be fun.
500.
When they get the water effects, better nailed for amphibians, I'd like to do a bar tour of Ha Long Bay in Vietnam. Just flying bar to bar. Ha Long Bay in Vietnam that's some really interesting geography. If the Beaver turns out good, I'd like to do a Canadian float trip. I think the Beaver would be perfect for that.
Problem with a lot of Canada is the resolution's not very good, like the land resolution.
Yeah.
You have to put a mask on your Beaver if you fly it in Canada.
Oh, we're open up.
By the way, I was wrong. It's on the north side of town. Aqueducto de Segovia. Just on the north side of town are the settings for whom the bell tolls, or the targets.
Anybody remember the guy that puts googly eyes on his helicopter and flies it around crazy?
Can't say that I do. Now that is interesting right there. What they've done to that aqueduct. It's like a long warehouse building. That should be an aqueduct. Alright, final airport is LETH. Runway headings for this would be 18. But not, I don't know who's putting googly eyes on their helicopter, but that, I'd be interested in seeing that. You're talking about real life? Like giant googly eyes?
Oh yeah. It's a Schweitzer 300C, I think. Chopper Baddicks, O'Brien's Flying Circus. They named the chopper Otto.
Auto rotation?
Yeah, I guess so.
Looks like a big old rail yard down to our right, coming up this mountain.
500.
Rail yard or toll road?
It might be toll road. That's a hell of a lot of lanes. I guess if this is like a resort area, though, I guess that could make sense as like a entrance, park entrance. I'm really liking these pop outs of these valleys coming over these ridge lines. Looks actually pretty good in here.
Good scenery.
That is a toll road. Very interesting. I think this is the main thoroughfare through the mountains into Madrid. Guess that's the reason for the toll road. Y'all see that cloud bank that's way to our south? Kind of see it on the horizon.
Oh yeah, now I see it.
And then Madrid's just off our left wings. Has anyone tried to fly the Great Wall of China?
Man, that'd take a lot of juice to get that thing off the ground.
I don't know if they fixed it. I know early on I went over there to it, and it was just a bunch of buildings. You know, it was rendered through buildings and such. They may have fixed it since then, though.
I think the last time I was over there, it was just like a road with some buildings on it. Is this a damned lake? I'm about to drop down on it. A little bit of a dam here. I think we should be able to follow this river all the way to the airport, pretty much. This is the village of El Pompilar. They have a church and a bar. This is the town of Valdercamera. They have a church and a bar.
I'm sensing a theme.
At this point, it's just a safe bet. As long as I can see the town name, I can call it out and then say if they got a church and a bar. I didn't say this was a good guided tour, it's just a tour. No refunds. Six packs down here on that river. Oh, well, this is interesting. Just to our left on this mountain, there's the Estación Especial de Madrid NASA, the Madrid station for NASA.
Like American NASA?
Like American NASA. I guess they have a comm station or something. I'm assuming for tracking missions.
Yeah, didn't they have an alternate runway in Madrid for the space shuttle when it used to launch?
That would make perfect sense why they'd have a station here.
Yeah, I think this was like the first abort landing spot. Once they launched up to a certain altitude, they'd have to abort to Spain instead of coming back to Kennedy. They never had to do it, of course, but that was one of their contingency plans, if I remember right.
Well, that's quite cool.
That's quite a far alternate airport.
Well, when you're going as fast as a space shuttle, it don't take long.
The only power for flight that the space shuttle had was rockets, and so after that you're a glider.
Yeah, that was how that worked. And once they launched, you know, if they had to abort off the rockets, you know, to a certain distance, they would abort back to Kennedy, glide back to Kennedy Space Center and land. But once they got to a certain point, then they moved their alternate to Madrid, Spain. And I think they had one in Canberra, Australia or something too. I'm not sure about that one. I know they've got a tracking station in Australia, but I'm not sure about the landing facility. I may be mixing my memories up.
I have to say the time of day worked out perfect.
What, real life time of day or sim time of day?
Oh yeah, I'm at real life time of day. This
was it about 2-3 o'clock for you? You North America?
Yeah, it's 4:34 here.
Oh yeah.
But I'm in Madrid right now. The sunset looks great.
Oh yeah. If you're live time, yeah. How's it look down there, Tool Dog?
500.
No comm.
No, that's me, not your CFI is Tool Dog.
Okay, how's it look down there?
Oh, it looks perfect. It's a great great scene.
Well, Rock, I think we're coming on the downhill.
If my computer wasn't such a wimp, I would record it so y'all could see it, but it would crash. I have a whopping, 17 frames a second.
$17? Is it just a little bit rough, or how is it handling at 17?
Oh, it does real good. It does fine. If it gets down to much lower than that, it's no fun. I don't know any of the people that is working on this model, and this is a free one. But they did a real good job. It's not heavy at all on the computer.
Which one?
135. I think they're working on developing a 145 right now.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for joining on this flight. I know there's a town about a mile down the road. There's a church and a bar there. I'm probably gonna go to the bar. Some of you probably go to the church. Like Russell. I saw that landing, Russell. You need to go to that church.
I appreciate the flight. It was fun.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Good flight. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. See y'all all next week.
Y'all take care.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Nice flight.